Okay, boys and girls, today you are going to learn about opt art, or optical illusion art. Some people do this by tracing their hand and making curves go around their fingers, while others might do this with their initials. You are going to begin by drawing your first letter of your first name and your last letter of your last name. Mine is RR for Rachel Rosenberg. You are then going to draw a bubble line around your letters to create your bubble letter. So I'm drawing my line all the way around the outside of my R, making sure that I fill in that inside part of my R with a little bit of a D shape, and then I'm going to do the other letter. Next, I am going to take my eraser and erase any marks that I don't like along with that center line so that I have my bubble letter. So if you have any letters that have a section that needs to have an inner bubble, like an A, D, all of those different letters, make sure that you do that inner section. You don't just trace around the outside and leave it as is. So once you have your letters created and your lines erased, you are going to begin drawing the lines in the background. You are going to draw straight diagonal lines across your paper. When you get to a letter, you're going to create a curved line, and this helps play that trick on your eyes to make it look like an optical illusion. So underneath the letter, before you hit the letter, you are going straight and parallel with the lines that you drew before, and when you're on top of the letter, you are going to do a curved line. So again, straight and parallel, and then you curve the line when you are on top of the letter. This makes it look like the letter is coming out from your paper. It's starting to play that little trick, making it look like it's coming off the paper. So these are the first steps. You are drawing straight parallel lines in the background, curved lines on the letter. I'm going to fast forward a little bit so that you can see me finish this project and see what it looks like when it is all the lines are drawn. Now that you have all of your lines completed on your optical illusion initial project, you are going to choose the colors of the crayons that you want to use. Again, I am using construction paper crayons. If you want to use colored pencils, you can use colored pencils, but you need something that you can create a value with. I'm going to begin by doing a light area in the background. So I'm not using a lot of pressure as I color in that section. So it's a light value when I color a light pressure. I'm going to alternate my colors using the colors I chose. So I'm going to start with blue, and then I'm going to add in green, and I'm going to go from there. If you notice, I am not coloring on my initial quite yet. There's a little trick that we do when we color to create the perspective or the optical illusion that the letters are kind of floating. So what you are going to do is you are going to color slightly harder right next to the letter, and you're going to take that value and gradually build it outward. So I'm going slightly harder, not very hard, just slightly harder right next to that letter and right on the inner parts of the letter also, and then in the middle of the letter it's going to be lighter again. So again, I'm going to go light on the background. As I get close to that letter, I'm gradually getting a little bit darker. When I'm right up to that letter, it's going to be really dark. And then the same thing on top of the letter. It's going to be dark right next to the outer edge of the letter. And I'm going to go slowly lighter. If you have a little bit of a white area or a really light area, this help creates the form also. So if you notice, I'm barely putting down any pressure on the middle of that letter, just at the very edges. So every time that I see the edge of the letter or the line of the letter, I'm coloring a little bit darker. In the middle of it, it's going to be lighter to kind of have that illusion, kind of like a balloon. If you were to look at balloon letters, this is kind of the effect that you want, that little bit of a shine going on. So dark at the edges, light in the middle. Dark again at the edges of the letter, and then the background of a course is only dark at the edge of the letter and then lighter as you make your way up. So the purple you can see a little bit better where it is slowly seeing the form of the letter and it's starting to look like it is popping off of the page. I'm going to show you one more before I speed up the video. So again, where the letter's edge meets the paper, I'm going to have a darker area. I'm going to slow it down so that you can see where I'm coloring the darker areas, and then I'm filling in between those areas with a little bit of a lighter color. Darker at the very edge, filling in with a lighter color in the background. So you can see that form of the letter happening again. I'm just focusing on laying my darkness down at the edge of the letter, and then I'm going to gradually get lighter. So as soon as we're done with this pink one, you will see this in fast motion so you can see what the finished product will look like when you are done coloring. Alright, boys and girls, as this comes to an end, you will notice that all of my paper is completely colored in with my rotating colors. Next, we are going to take a black or a dark crayon. If you have a black crayon or a black colored pencils, this is when you want to find it. We are going to take that colored pencil and we are going to create a shadow on our letters just to give our letters a little bit more depth to them. I do not have a black, but I have a dark gray that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to take that dark gray and choose one side of my letter, and I'm going to start adding a dark value to it gradually around the edge of the letter to add a shadow to my letter. I do extend a little bit on the top. I noticed that after I did this I didn't like that, and I should have just kept it to the side and below my letter. So if you don't want to do that, or if you don't like that, please do not add it, but you can add that little dark value. Make sure you go all the way around the edge of your letter that you have, and you go around the same side of the other parts of your letter. So I'm going to go around the outside of my R, the little bump of the R, and then the line downward, and then I'm going to go to that inner line and also add a little bit of dark value there along with the inside of my R. I'm going to go add some value there just so that it pops off the paper a little bit more. So I'm doing it to the other side. I think I fill in the values on the inner part last, so I'm going to do the outside again of my letters all the way around my letters, adding that darker value. If you don't like how far mine extends, you can just have a little bit of darkness and barely extend yours off the letter. Now you should have those finishing touches complete on your artwork. I hope your letters pop off the page and you enjoyed this artwork.